I didn't uncover my partner's past in one sudden moment. It wasn't a phone call, a message, or a stranger showing up at the door. It started quietly, almost imperceptibly, like a shadow stretching across the floor in the corner of a dimly lit room. It happened on New Year's Eve, a night that promised a reset, a clean slate, and I believed in that promise. I believed in them. From the outside, our life looked flawless. Calm mornings, coffee steaming in the kitchen, evenings spent on the couch with muted television light, shared laughter in predictable doses. Friends called us enviable, stable. We were the kind of couple people admired silently, without knowing the quiet fractures beneath the surface. I trusted that picture because nothing in our day-to-day life suggested otherwise. Stability feels permanent when nothing shakes it. I assumed our love would last forever. We stayed home that New Year's Eve. No parties, no crowds, just dim lights, cheap champagne, and the distant hum of fireworks. They always claimed crowds made them anxious. I believed it without questioning. At 11:58, while fireworks cracked far away, I noticed their hands shaking. Not from excitement, not from cold. Something else. Something hidden. I asked if they were okay. They smiled too quickly and said, "New Year's always makes me reflective." Reflective of what, I wondered. But I didn't push. Love sometimes means letting moments go unexplored. We kissed at midnight. We said Happy New Year. When they answered, they didn't say my name. I noticed that too. I told myself it meant nothing. After that night, subtle inconsistencies began to accumulate. Stories from their past never included years. Friends existed as names, never faces. Photos disappeared before a certain point. When I asked who they were before me, the answer slipped away. "I'm not that person anymore," they'd say. But they never explained who that person had been. They became more attentive, almost preemptive. Compliments arrived before I needed them. Reassurances filled silences that hadn't asked for it. Sometimes I caught them watching me, not lovingly, but carefully, like someone observing a reflection to make sure it hadn't cracked. I didn't want to dig. Digging feels like betrayal when you still love someone. But one evening, searching for holiday lights we never ended up using, I found a box hidden deep in the closet. No dust, no label. Inside were documents, old IDs, a different name, a different face, the same eyes. I confronted them. They didn't deny it. They said they had changed their identity after a traumatic past. That starting over had been about survival, about becoming someone new. They cried easily, convincingly. I wanted to believe them. It wasn't enough. What they didn't tell me was that the past wasn't only painful, it was deliberate. They hadn't escaped danger. They had escaped responsibility. A marriage, a child, a life. I wasn't their first fresh start. I was the most recent one. The realization didn't hit like an explosion. It drained me slowly, hollowing me out. Every memory rearranged itself. Every pause, every missing detail, every avoided story suddenly mattered. I had loved someone who had curated themselves for me, not someone real. They claimed they hadn't lied about who they were now. That was the cruelty. I had never met who they were before, or who they might become next. Truth arrived in fragments, enough to hurt, never enough to heal. Every memory rewritten itself. Every smile, every laugh, every New Year's photo they'd refused to take made sense. I wasn't remembering us anymore. I was reinterpreting a carefully constructed narrative. We didn't break up cleanly. We drifted. Silence replaced intimacy. Politeness replaced trust. Living with someone whose past you can't verify changes how you sleep. You listen more. You dream less. The following year, I tried to move on, but the shadows lingered. Every New Year's Eve, I remembered the quiet moments. The handshake of the clock at midnight, the subtle tremor in their hands, the absence of my name in their words. I felt the weight of every unasked question. I realized that love without truth isn't love. It's permission taken, silently, without awareness. I tried to forgive. I wanted to forgive. I wanted to believe that survival and trauma justified everything, but forgiveness requires truth. And the truth was incomplete, fragmented, selective. I had loved someone who had never fully existed in the first place, only the version they allowed me to see. Now, every New Year's Eve, I sit alone. No countdown, no champagne, just distant fireworks, and the understanding that the hardest part isn't losing someone. The hardest part is knowing the person you loved never existed, only the version you were allowed to believe in. And yet somehow, I cling to the hope that people can change. That truth can emerge, even when it's buried deep. That next year might be different, but only because I carry the lesson of what I lost. I carry it like an ache, a quiet reminder that love is never simple, and truth is always more important than comfort. I light a candle in the empty apartment, watch the smoke curl toward the ceiling, and let the memory of that New Year's Eve drift in with the fireworks outside. I remember the hands, the smile, the name that was never said. I remember the box, the documents, the false identities, and I let it all sit with me. Because forgetting is impossible, and pretending is even harder. Love without truth is a shadow. It moves silently, mimics reality, but it leaves you hollow. And sometimes, that is the greatest lesson of all, that even in the quietest, safest moments, the truth has a way of finding you. Waiting, patient, unyielding. This is how I learned to face a new year alone. How I learned that what we see is never all there is. That the person you love might be gone long before they leave. And that hope, fragile as it is still the only way forward.